So this dating scene is it's out of control. I don't know about the past because I was, younger as a child, but I would dare say that this might be possibly the most difficult time for dating um, in our society. I know it's different when you had to go out and, you know, really seek a wife out or something, but in a lot of cases, man, it seemed like it was, or even a husband. Let me just seek a mate. But it just seemed like I think back then it was more about the survival. So these choices, the way we are able to just keep scrolling. If we just don't like a picture, if we just don't like, we take no time to get to know each other. I've been guilty of it too. And where we're at is in this disposable societies, we've got a lot of people who are in this very unhappy state and they don't know why. And where I came to the conclusion is that many people date just not to be lonely, as opposed to those who date with the intent of having something, you know, long term, committed. So what are we dating for, or what are you dating for? What am I dating for? Am I dating with a purpose or on purpose? And I think that there's a difference in those two. If you're dating just on purpose, you're just dating to date. It doesn't mean that you're really seeing an end game. You're not really vetting people properly to make sure that they're fit. It's almost just like it's something to do, rather than actually, put the work in. Whereas if you're dating with a purpose, you have taken care of yourself first. I think that's the first most important part to a lot of this, is that you take care of yourself. You heal yourself. You get past a lot of the traumas, or you at least acknowledge them, so that way you can understand and further help somebody understand you. And then with that, you're looking to have a long term mate. You're looking for somebody that potentially leads to marriage if you're young enough, with children, or if you're older, that it's just going to secure the rest of your life, as far as having a companion. So I think that there's a lot to that. A lot of people haven't matured in this sense of saying, you know what, I need to do more work on myself. That's the first part, is you can't change other people. I think that's a big part that people don't understand. You can say what you want, what you bring, what you don't bring, if you know your worth, if you don't know your worth, if you're not willing to sit down with the person you're interested in and have shown them interest, to turn around and say, like, let's build on something together, then of course they're not going to change, because they don't know exactly who they're dealing with and what it is that you would seek to, have you guys build together, and how they can, better themselves to do that, and how you can better yourself as well. Because once you enter into something with somebody, there is forms of compromise. I would dare say, if you're just two individual units, how do you come together? I think that this is, it's good to be a whole, but open to say I'm willing to connect and make concessions or whatever. Even if you want to use the word settle, a lot of people don't like to use that word. That's fine too. But it does come down to saying honestly with yourself, am I being a person who dates on purpose or with a purpose? Have I done my work on my end? Have I looked within myself? So let's look on the at some of this, because when you're looking at yourself on a level where you're talking about your emotions, being intimate, being vulnerable, having to, give and be in some space with somebody where it's just very raw emotions and you're very invested. It's different than if you are willing to put the work in to go to school, to get a degree, or if you're willing to put in the overtime to make manager, if you're willing to get up extra early to train for that half marathon. There's differences, but it's all the same thing. Are we putting in that work to advance ourselves? So we can do the half marathon. We can do trying to make manager. We can do trying to, get that degree. But then there's a pause. We seem to like want to stop when it comes down to being husband material, being wife material, or just being knowledgeable in how dating works, what it is to be an effective communicator, what it is to be emotionally available, not only to share your emotions, but to hear people's emotions as well. I think there's a whole lot to that puzzle, and it's a tough one to overcome sometimes. But with the work, and I think with starting, just having to acknowledge, like I always tell, I always say to myself and people I would, interact with, I'm not astute on dating, and there's nothing shameful about that. One, I don't have much of a social life. Two, I don't have the time for much of a social life. And three, each person is different. So how I meet them, how we're going to connect, or those things, it's going to be a new learning experience each time out. Now, there are things that, you can always know manners wise, etiquette wise, things like that. But the conversations you're going to have, the humor, anything like that can be different. So it's always something new, but we can still work on ourselves to go into every circumstance confident, competent, and absolutely ready to say, if this is something that I enjoy, then I will make it known that I'd like to follow up on it. If it's something that I don't, I'm confident enough to say it's okay not to be alone. So I'm not just dating on purpose, date with purpose. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm sure many of you have an ace up your sleeve advice, comment, experience where this is concerned, whether you are longtime single or forever single, like I have, never been married, whether you're divorced, widowed, whether you're poly, whether you're just a flat out cheater. I don't know. There's all sorts of circumstances as to why people could find themselves out in the dating pool. So let me hear from you guys. What do you think? And I hope this finds everybody in a place or pursuit of total health, mind, body, and soul. And we'll talk to you in the next one. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.